Good morning and welcome to the First Unitarian Universalist Church of Richmond, Virginia. My name is Denise Rhymes, and I have the honor and privilege of serving as president of the board of directors of this congregation. I welcome you at the end of a very difficult week, a week that has tested not only our individual temperaments, but the temperament of this great country. This congregation has long stood for what is just and right in the democratic system, and we will continue to do so in a peaceful and constitutional way. We hope this time with us this morning will help you find some respite from the week's events and know that we are always here as a community to help you and support you regardless of any difficult time that you may be going through. Your board met this month and will meet again later in the month with a revised holiday schedule and continue to do great work on behalf of this congregation. Our financial situation continues to be stable. Our treasurer, Tom Grayhack, will have more information about that later this month. But I want to take the opportunity to thank all of you, whether you have visited, whether you are a friend or a member. I want to thank you for your time, your talent, and your treasures as we continue on this particularly challenging journey of acting as being a virtual congregation. If you are interested in getting more involved with your time or your talent or your treasures, I encourage you to contact our membership committee at membership@richmonduu.org in order to learn more about the journey or the path to membership. If you have been joining us for a while, or if you're a member or a friend, I also encourage you to join us about 5 to 10 minutes before the service begins for weekly announcements and updates that will keep you up to date on all of the activities and events that continue to happen here at First UU. And I also encourage you to join us after the service for about 30 minutes for a coffee hour, a virtual coffee hour, where we can join in small groups and visit and reconnect during a time when we haven't been able to do so in person. Again, I hope that this week's service brings you some internal peace, and I welcome you all to a time of worship.
for the Web of Life by Paul Sprecher. We light this chalice for the web of life which sustains us, for the sacred circle of the life in which we have our being, for the earth, for the sky above and below, and for our Mother Earth, and for the mystery.
How are things with the earth? Well, I've heard some interesting things. I've heard she's not too happy with how we've been treating her. No matter what injuries she's enduring, the injuries that we're going to feel are going to be greater. How is it with our relationship with this earth? That's the question that we'll be examining for the 4 months of January through April of 2021. Each month features a slightly different topic, a different way of examining the topics, but for right now, let's ask the question, how is our relationship with the earth? Is it just? Is it healthy? Is it even relational? Welcome to a time of worship in which we examine exactly that, the ultimate existential question. How is it with you and the earth?
Join me for a time of reflection.
Hi, I'm Susanna Calvert. Regarding my relationship with Earth, I guess you could say that I'm sort of a late bloomer because I spent most of my life living indoors in front of the TV and computer, air conditioning, and all that. But in 2018, I lost my sister and husband to cancer. And while I was caring for my husband and grieving the loss afterwards, I spent day and night really on my porch and in my Florida room in Athens, Georgia, similar to the one I have here in Richmond, just being held by the stream and the forest, the birds and the insects, the plants, the deer that came through my yard. And I rediscovered my relationship with Earth, that she has always been there for me, even while I was distracted and preoccupied with my life. And I had forgotten that I was in a relationship with her. I had taken her for granted, and that my relationship with her and my newly discovered relationship with Spirit were just such a source of strength and inspiration for me, and healing. And it got me through that phase. It got me through the grieving process, and it helped me find my new life back in Richmond, and starting a nonprofit, the Foundation for Family and Community Healing, which is dedicated to healing our relationship with ourselves, each other, and Earth. And so she has been a source of inspiration for me, not only in terms of my personal life, but in terms of wanting us all to come back to being in a reciprocal, loving, caring relationship with her and also for her for a change. She needs us now, just like a mother needs her children.
Please join me for reflection and prayer. Spirit of nature and of Gaia, Spirit of the earth, who gives much to each of us, moments of calm and peace, moments of beauty and awe, times of consolation and recreation and inspiration. For this, we are grateful. For this, we are humbled. Your magnificence, your beauty, strike to the heart and cause us to understand that though we are small in this world, we are also beautiful. Spirit, allow us to be in relationship to you in ways that are healing and whole, and make of life health and wholeness and service to what is good. You who nurture us, give us life. You who sustain us, allow us to understand how to be at one in spirit with nature, in relationship with you, at home in the beauty that is this world. Amen, Ashe, Amen. Blessed be.
Bright morning stars are rising. Bright morning stars are rising. Bright morning stars are rising. Day is a-breaking in my soul. Oh, where are our dear fathers? Oh, where are our dear fathers? They are down in the valley of praying. Day is a-breaking in my soul. Oh, where are our dear fathers? Oh, where are our dear mothers? They are gone to heaven a-shouting. Day is a-breaking in my soul. Bright morning stars are rising. Bright
This poem I'm reading is by Mary Oliver. It's called Sleeping in the Forest. I thought the earth remembered me. She took me back so tenderly, arranging her dark skirts or pockets full of lichens and seeds. I slept as never before, a stone in the riverbed, nothing between me and the white fire of the stars, but my thoughts, and they floated light as moths among the branches of the perfect trees. At night I heard the small kingdoms breathing around me, the insects and the birds who did their work in the darkness. At night I rose and fell, as if in water, grappling with a luminous dome. By morning, I had vanished at least a dozen times into something better.
In 1972, I was afraid of the math. I was afraid of the math in the physics class. I had struggled with algebra. I had struggled with geometry, and trigonometry was really kicking my butt. And we had to take all these things. It was New York State, and you just did. But I wasn't feeling ready for physics, so I decided to take earth science. It was 1972, and the teacher, who was an interesting guy, brought in to our classroom a book and started reading from it. In the book were writings from James Lovelock and Lynn Margulies. They were scientists, although Lovelock said he was more of an engineer, who had a thesis that was really interesting. And we had just celebrated the first couple of Earth Day planning sessions, and we were getting ready. And so I was in class, and I was hearing about this theory called Gaia. Now, it was a good thing I was hearing about Gaia. Gaia is the notion that the Earth and its systems are a living, interdependent system designed basically to keep life alive. That life and the planet interact in such a way that they make it hospitable to life. And that is the magic of Earth, that in addition to our location in the solar system, the fact that the factors that create the constituent reality of life being a probability actually continue to regulate the Earth. It's a really, really cool theory, and I thought it was all the more cool because I was reading at the time the theology of Teilhard de Chardin. Teilhard wasn't on our list of theologians or religious thinkers to read in high school, but he was an avocation. We had this great library for the religious studies department, and they invited all the students, anyone who wanted to come in and see books and take them out and read them. And we had this great library of really good thinkers. This was a time of great optimism after Vatican II in the Catholic Church. And so we were reading all kinds of exciting things. And this theologian scientist by the name of Desjardins had posited that really even the inorganic things that exist in this world that we don't think of as being alive actually are alive. And that they have a life that we are unable to perceive and measure, but that all things on the earth, all things in the cosmos, are there for a purpose, really. That it may not be known and it may not be active right now, but even the rocks, even the stone is alive. This was very exciting theology, and to have both my earth science class talking about Gaia and to have Teilhard de Chardin talking about this, I felt pretty excited about what it all meant if it came together. That was a long time ago. Where were you when you first heard about the theory of Gaia? Well, today we are unraveling, showing you the themes that we're going to be dealing with in the coming months. In the coming months, all the things we're talking about from January to April in our family ministry program are going to be about the living nature of the natural world, the existence of Mother Earth, or Gaia, as the Greeks called her, of the awareness of our relationship to this thing, which can cause awe and majesty and cause frustration if you've ever tried to grow a garden and keep the rabbits out of it. The reality of what we're going to talk about is how and why we can have a relationship to the earth that is symbiosis, working together, because the earth works together. The atmosphere of the earth works with the oceans and works with the biosphere to keep the conditions suitable to all life in place. Now, unfortunately, we know that during the time that human beings have been alive and affecting the earth, we've inordinately affected the earth, way beyond our own right to do so, our own space in the biosphere, way beyond the importance of human life. We've impacted the earth, and we're now measuring how negative so many of those effects have been during what we call the Anthropocene. That's what theologians are even calling it, the time in which human beings have been active. And of course, every one of us has at one time or other saying, what can I do by myself? And so we've tried to figure out how to work around what we were doing. I have these fond memories of seeing in the church this awareness of people deeply involved in trying to heal the earth and against systems. The city of Richmond wouldn't do recycling for an institution like First Unitarian, so we actually had Anne and Jim Blowers hauling recycling off to the county, and so it would be recycled properly rather than thrown just into the trash. We had a car show. This is early days for me. We had a car show about cars that were hybrids. They were new, and I remember they were all lined up out in the parking lot so the people in the church could see what they were about, what they were like, and to show everyone that they actually did function well as cars. As I remember, there's a whole bunch of Prius lined up, and we did all kinds of things because we in our lives were exploring that we did not want to be a part of what was going on in polluting the earth. But we were so eager to do it, and yet almost everything that modern life asks or involves us in can have a negative effect. But that symbiosis wants to continue. The earth is a living thing, and it is responsive to our life. It will react and respond to our lives. In other words, we're in relationship to Mother Earth. That is good news. Mother Earth is a living thing, and we're in relationship, and we matter. We're in the mix. Even Mother Earth is part of a constellation that rotates around a star that eventually, in a few billion years, will get sucked into darkness and collapse. And even then, all of its matter will further be drawn into different parts of the cosmos. Everything has a lifespan. What does that mean for us? It means that as we are host in our body to trillions and trillions of living things that are in our guts and all over the place on our skin, we are on the planet's skin. And it is creating an environment for us to be alive. And our being alive has been problematic, almost like a rash on the skin of the earth. The earth will be fine in the long run because it can adapt, but living things may not. So the interdependent web of which we are a part needs us to act responsibly within that system in order that we and all living things can thrive in right relationship to Gaia. This is an exciting time to be alive. All those little things we've been doing to try to make a difference to reduce our footprint, especially in the Western world, where our footprint upon the earth is heavy because we're heavy consumers of extracted goods, manufactured goods, goods that produce poisons and inert things that can't be undone and pollute the skies. But we are close to capturing more sun and more wind and geothermal. And we're very close to understanding how to use wave technology and other things to help us garner energy with a benign effect. We also are on the threshold of seeing hydrogen in our cars and heating, which is the most exciting thing because all it produces as a byproduct is water. The coolest thing will be when you can drive your car 1,000 miles and get out and then pull a little lever or on your key fob, and suddenly out comes 3 gallons of water. A pretty cool thing. To be in relationship to Gaia means that we have to have a mindset that understands we're dealing with a living thing, and we have to be in an accountable relationship to it. We've all been trying to figure out how to live more lightly on the earth, but we also have to figure out how to live in a heart-centered connection to earth. It's easy for us to imagine a walk in the woods that renews us. Fog lifting from the morning, over the James River, and just creating awe with its beauty. On any sunny day, a walk down by the edge of the James is a crowded event, people celebrating how beautiful it is. Or perhaps you go to the mountains, or the seashore, or your own garden in your backyard. We are invited as human beings into an authentic and accountable, loving relationship to the mother that holds us in this planet. We must recognize our dependency and our interdependence with all beings, which might be even those things we call inert. Thank you, Teilhard de Chardin. Thank you, James Lovelock and Lynn Margulis. Thank you for these theories that kind of intertwine. And I want to lift my consciousness to be aware of my interdependence and to celebrate it with commitment to a new vision of what could be. Yes, we are Unitarian Universalists, and we take great measure of the interdependence of this world and celebrate the fact that we are allowed to rest within it. May it be so. In these times, it's hard to imagine what next, what more stunning, stupefying, life-changing thing can happen. There are disasters all over the place. And for that reason, we are conducting, again, for the month of January, a replenishment of the funds we have in our UU Disaster Relief Fund. First, UU conducts a fund just to make sure that there is money when disaster strikes for us to help other congregations, other areas of the country and the world that may have been adversely affected, to send some sign of hope and solidarity and relief. It ain't a lot of money, but it means a lot. It means someone cares. Therefore, for January, the offering will be taken for the UU Disaster Relief Fund of First Unitarian Universalist. Our Share the Plate folks are grateful to receive the funds which they can then distribute in your name. I hope that the disasters are few, but the solidarity and care is very, very generous. May it be so. The offering will now be taken and gratefully received.
Hello there. My relationship with Earth is that of really feeling one with the Earth, really feeling that I'm a part of the Earth. And this came to me through knowing about the cosmos, knowing that I am the same stardust that is all throughout our cosmos, but also knowing that I'm the same as the soil, and little things have gotten me here, such as learning that I can compost my hair, my fingernails, and turn that into soil, use that soil to grow a potato, eat that potato, and it's just a, click that the cycle, and that everything is one. Also helping me with this was the learning of indigenous cultures and their reciprocity with the earth. I really felt this in the Sacred Valley in Peru, that they had a real sense of reciprocity with the earth and feeling one with the earth. The better that they were with the earth, the better the earth would be with them. So it's almost selfish in a way, but if you realize that we're the same thing, then you realize it's just a win-win to have this experience with the earth. And as Robin Wall Kimmer said in Braiding Sweetgrass, if I want to be heard, I must speak the language of that of whom I want to listen. So for me, that means I want to speak the language of the trees, and the language of you, and the soil, and everyone. Because the better that we can understand each other, the better we can understand that we're all one.
And now we extinguish our chalice, bringing to a close our time together this Sunday morning in worship, but coffee hour follows, and I hope there's so much to talk about. I hope you'll take time to be with one another in coffee hour. Let me share with you this benediction, these good words. When we have fallen out of relationship, the path back always starts with understanding those things for which we have regrets, for which we are sorry. When we've fallen out of relationship, it's best to arrive with humility and a desire to figure out how to do better. When we've fallen out of relationship, it is best to work hard to renew and restore what has been broken, that it might grow and thrive. So it is with Mother Earth. We are out of right relationship, but we need not stay there. Let us renew this relationship of love. I hope that's so for all of us. Blessed be everybody, and we'll see you again this week. Show up, say hi, and keep the democracy going.